Mr. Grimwood, is this really what you want? They say one must be ready for anything. Throughout its history, humanity has grappled with the quandary of how to confront the myriad risks it faces. Kia's gifts allow us to mitigate those perils and live out the most desirable outcome. That fact cannot be denied. You're a moron. Even if it means burdening Kia, an innocent girl, with the weight of the world. When the Cetarian the Mirage took up that same duty, its heart was racked with guilt until it finally decided to erase itself. So tell me, how in your right mind can you force a responsibility like that on a little girl? Lloyd, please. That would be what Mr. Grimwood and I are here for, to prevent that very fate. It was never our intention to have Kia bear that burden of shaping reality all by our lonesome. Having the good lawyer's wisdom and expertise here with her would help move the world in the right direction. That way, history wouldn't repeat itself. What you're proposing is that the best interests of the people will be decided by a chosen few. You know as well as I do that there are consequences to our democratic system, Ellie. Time and time again, it's guilty of mobocracy, unable to act when its people need it most. This is the case not only in Crossbell, but in all nations. Wouldn't you agree? Maybe so, but to be clear, I have no intention of shielding Kia from any beliefs or opinions aside from my own. I would like to request the cooperation of such knowledgeable statesmen as Speaker McDowell as well. And having Dieter again would make for a good asset from a managerial perspective. Moreover, it would only be right to ask for the collaboration of the SSS in these matters too. No, you're a moron. Opening a new path to a new age will call for the input of promising young people like yourselves. As far as all of you in particular are concerned, because of how hard you fought to make it here, you each know better than anyone what must be done for the coming era. What do you say? Will you accept? You want us to join you? Well, damn, he almost makes a valid point. None of this is valid. Mr. Grimwood, you still haven't answered my questions. Is this really what you want, even if it costs Kia her freedom? All things have an inherent dignity. People, society, history, each of them is rife with mistakes, and those mistakes can lead to tragedy. But erasing the woes of the past violates the dignitaries of those who carry them in their hearts. Anyone who has ever found strength by recovering from loss knows exactly what I mean. If you need proof, you don't have to look any further than yourself. Try as we might, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes from time to time. However, pretending those mistakes never happened is no way for anyone to grow. There's meaning in learning from the past, in joining hands with others, and moving forward together. And your plan here would scrap every last bit of that. Kia, please come back to us. You don't need to do this. You don't have to force yourself for our sakes. Words. When you found out that we had lost our lives, I can't imagine the pain it put you through or how broken your heart was. I'm sorry, Kia. This never would have happened if we hadn't let you down. But you didn't. Going through it was my decision. There's nothing for you to apologize for. And let me ask you, Kia, why do you still look so sad? You realize it, don't you, Kia? It was out of greed that you used your powers to undo our debts. But deep down, you know that wasn't fair of you. Hi. Well, I'm not gonna stand here and tell you that I'd rather be 6 Arj under. But cheating death ain't exactly playing things by the numbers. Mr. Grimwood fell. In a way, the same underlying concept applies to politics. At times, one could say that the easy way out is a necessary evil. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that doesn't make it any less unacceptable. Ellie. Relying on Kia's transcendental powers for all of life's troubles. That isn't politics anymore. That's using fate and prayer as a substitute for action. We should be coming together to resolve our problems with open dialogue and procedural justice. Where was this, like, 10 to 20 hours earlier, Ellie? That's the core of self-governance. We're not naive. We know the dangers that Crossbow will face without Kia's power to protect us. Turmoil across the continent, economic crises, words, and Arabonia will undoubtedly come for us when their civil war ends. Oh yeah, the civil war is still going on in Mariabell or something. Yet, in spite of those threats, forcing the responsibility of protecting all of us onto Kia still isn't the right thing to do. If we came to rely on her miracles alone, then none of us would ever grow as people. We know what our path is, and we're gonna take it no matter what. No matter how painful it is. So this is how it ends. I'd always told myself that my motivations amounted to more than a personal grudge. But in my heart of hearts, I knew I was lying to myself. How fitting that the team carrying Guy's legacy would be the ones who approached me in the end. Mr. Grimwood. I'm sorry, I haven't the right to so much as mention his name in your presence. Forgive me, Kia. I misled you in so many ways. You should follow your own judgment and make the decision for you. I have full faith that you can do so. Mr. Grimwood. Mariabell, I deeply apologize for failing to meet your expectations. Consider this my resignation. So be it, I certainly won't object. From the beginning, you were only intended to draft the plan for our project rather than execute them. What was the point of Grimwood being the villain? Like, it's actually, it's both lame and just, like, pointless. Thank you for your contributions, Ian Grimwood. You're gonna kill him. Oh, dang. If only I cared. No! Bell? That's brutal, I wasn't expecting that. I suppose this is retribution for my sins. Guy, Lloyd, I'm sorry. Mr. Grimwood. You fiend. Yeah, I don't care. Bell, why? Tools that have outlived their use are to be disposed of. And just so you're aware, Kia, the same goes for you. Also, you're vile, Mariabell. Hey, what the hell are you doing to our little girl? She brought this upon herself. If she wants to be difficult, then I'll just have to turn her into an adorable doll with no will of her own. She is, after all, nothing more than a homunculus granted life by the Croy family's long-held secrets. In other words, she's my property and do with as I please. Shut your mouth. Belle, listen to yourself. How can you say something so horrible? We'll make you eat those words. Very well. Yes, very well. Yes, high fan service. Before you stands Mariabell Croy, descendant of the alchemist that sacrificed everything in search of a sectarian that could surpass Adios herself. Which is stronger, the fervor of a delusion that has endured 1,000 years, or your meager bonds that haven't existed for more than one. Let's say we pit them against each other and see what outcome it yields. You're planning on it. Bell, I'm not gonna hold back. For alchemy makes her a top-class mage, leave nothing on the table. Wow, so Grimwood being a villain was basically pointless in the end. Mariabell is interesting as a villain. Like, her ideals are interesting. I don't think she's, like, fantastic, but as far as Trails standards go, it's definitely a lot better than Joachim Gwenter. I don't know if I like this whole Kia brought them, like, saved the SSS from their their death or whatever. I don't like that. I did really like the speeches, like Lloyd and Ellie especially. Like, Ellie being like, this isn't politics, etc., and then Lloyd's little speech there was pretty good, but I don't like this. I don't know how I feel about this, this whole double timeline thing. I'm very mixed on it. It makes sense, and I kind of understand it, but I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I like it or not. Oh, Flygon, you're just in time for the ending. Like, the final few fights, I assume. Well, no, this is, like, definitely, it's gotta be, like, the last wave of fights, because the game warned me. Man, Grimwood being the villain was so pointless. They were just gonna kill him off in the end. What was the point, dude? I'm good on you. I'm gonna chance it. Cold 1 goes back in time? Does it? I mean, Cold Steel 1 starts with the Grelia Fortress stuff, and then... Cold Steel 1 starts with the Grelia Fortress stuff, and then, like, shows you. I thought that was, like, a Persona 5 Royal kind of thing, of, like, oh, you get to see a later part of the game. Are you telling me that Kia's time stuff is the reason you see stuff at Grelia Fortress, and then it goes back in time? So what you're telling me is the railway guns fire at the beginning of Cold Steel 1, and then the reason nothing, spoiler alert for Cold Steel 1, but we've all played it. So you're telling me, I know in Cold Steel 1, when you actually get to Chapter 6, or whatever chapter it is, Guerrilla Fortress, when you get there, the Guerrilla Fortress guns, like, don't fire anything. Are you telling me that Kia's time thing is what affects that? I always just assumed that it was kind of like Persona 5, where they just show you a late part of the game. I thought it was just a storytelling thing. Of like, they show you something, or Engage. Engage also does that, but I thought it was just a storyline thing of like the game telling you, showing you something later in the game, or FF10, that's my biggest example. But I always thought it was just the game showing you something, and then it's just like, oh yeah, you get to see a bit of like what happens later, and then you get to see how we got there. I always thought it was a storytelling device. Does the timeline adds up? I guess it does, doesn't it? I mean, it does. I guess the Guerrilla Fortress stuff does line up with that. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not sure if I like it, though. I'm, like, mixed on it. I don't think it's, like, awful. What do you have here? You have less than the other bosses. So why are we all... Where is everyone? We're all, like, in the different quarters, huh? I, like, get my... Oh, Crimson's Amber. So, I mean, of course I wouldn't know Cold Steel 1 was affected by timeline stuff, because I hadn't played this game. That's only something I would have probably figured out, or maybe known, if I played Zero in Azure. Because there's nothing in Cold Steel 1 that tells you that it's a timeline thing. Cold Steel 1, you could just assume it's a storytelling decision of, like, they showed you something later in the game and you get to see how you got there. Like what FF10 and Persona 5 do, and, what was the other game I said? There was another game, but those two examples work just fine. I always assumed it was just a storytelling thing, because games do that. It's interesting that there's a story reason for it. It's an interesting route. Okay, whatever. Mariabell. Yes. Even if I'm a little bit short of that other enemy. Yeah, exactly. You don't even know Kia exists, and the game doesn't tell you that Kia exists. So, like, you really can't know that unless... I mean, even if you played Zero in Azure, I doubt you would really... I feel like it would take a lot of brain power, maybe, to put it together. You could put it together, but it's not even, like, obvious. It's just, like, you could put 2 and 2 together if you played Zero in Azure first. Probably. But I didn't do that, so I wouldn't have known that now. Like, even if you played Zero in Azure and then went to Cold Steel 1, I feel like the game, like, there's hints and you can put it together, but you would have to, like, really think about it. I'm getting a rush, I don't want you to have that. That was terrible. Is there something to this fight I'm missing? So Mariabell's level 116, by the way. But that did a lot. Like, now it makes sense. I'm not, like, confused about it. It makes perfect sense because in the beginning of the game, we got to see the Find Me thing. So, like, we got to see something related to Kia, and we were like, oh, what's that? Playing Zero. But obviously, the player would just think of it. It's a good plot twist in the sense that the player would never suspect it. The player can just think of it as, like, a storytelling device, which games do. So at best, it's probably neat that that's the angle they went with. Okay, yeah, your scepter or whatever. You're basically just summoning enemies at this point. Ellie is all the way over here, which I'm not sure if I like. Joy. Oh, it's the shuffle thing that Campanella did.
Yosh.
Bum 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 bum. I'm not like a huge fan of it, but it's also like I'm mixed on it. There's some things I like about it, and there's some things I don't like about it, but I'm mixed on it as a whole. I don't know, Wazzy, just get rid of your status ailment because you can't really do much else. Still have Zerum powers, but I want to save those for like the final boss. They're fine now. A lot of hits here. Just want to hit Mariabell. She's getting low. Nice. It's definitely like, this is definitely the biggest. It's the biggest plot twist in the game. Like, it's there's a couple of things in Azure I didn't see coming. This is definitely the biggest. It's definitely like the biggest. Like, it's the one that caught me the most off guard. I did nothing. Although we're kind of all spread out right now, there's not really much you can do. All of us. Ellie? I will... I don't know. I have no clue. You Wazzy or something. I got you low, Mariabell. You die. Oh, you're still alive. There's still so many of these enemies too. I know Lloyd does a lot. And now you're dead? Oh, and they kill your enemies, thank goodness. 9,000 experience! Oh my word, that brought me all the way to 116. I was worried about being under level, now I'm not. I was not expecting to fight Mariabell, and she gets us like 4 level ups. Oh, baby. I mean, the sepet's irrelevant because, you know, 16 going on severing. Oh, hey, got the trophy. Every worry about being underleveled is now mitigated. I wasn't expecting Mariabell to give us 4 level ups. Kia, you alright? Yeah, somehow. Thank goodness. Nearly gave me a heart attack. So be it. Clearly it wasn't by chance that you defeated Arios and the rest. Belle, please stop this. There's no point in us fighting anymore. Oh, my dear sweet Ellie. Well, a part of me does wish I could acquiesce to your pleas. An adorable girl like yourself should know better than anyone. I'm a horrible tease. What do you? By the by, Kia, would Lloyd and the others happen to know of your true nature? Judging by your lovely reaction, you must have never told them. How opportune. What do you say to opening up a little and letting your beloved family in on the secret? No, please don't. Belle, I'm begging you. Oh, she's gonna do it. What are you talking about? Listen up, you witch. If you keep messing with Tito, we're gonna open up a second can of whoop-ass on you. Oh, how very touching. You all must truly love Kia, isn't that right? Darling little Kia, a soulless homunculus entrusted to the cult by the Croy family. An empty doll with the sole purpose of absorbing the countless souls the cult sacrifice. What does that matter to us? Zite already told us the truth. It doesn't change a thing. We're still Kia's family. We won't abandon her. Nothing could possibly be more important to us right now. Oh, did you hear that just now, Kia? Aren't you a lucky little doll? You've gained the love and affection of Lloyd and the SSS, or no, of everyone you've ever made contact with. It's all because of your power. Belle, what are you implying? Really now? You never found it odd? From the second you laid eyes on her, you were overwhelmed with the urge to love and protect Kia with all your heart. Why, pray tell, do you suppose that is? It can't be. Hey, what'd I tell you about bullshitting us? Surely you know this, not Joshua, nor the Mafia, nor even monsters ever dared to harm a hair on Kia's head. Every person she meets is instantly endeared to her, the girl entitled to nothing less than unconditional love. All the while, none of you ever stopped to question it. You told yourself she was simply that lovable, didn't you? No, it's not true. Oh, but that's where you're wrong. You have the power to unconsciously capture the hearts and souls of those around you. I didn't mean to press turbo there. Your power to manipulate casualty has filled your life with people who will love and protect you for nothing in return. How delightfully fitting, don't you think? Artificial love for an artificial existence. And this music. Hey, the final boss? Maybe? Spiritual energy. An Azure deity. Yeah, it's the name of the game. We're in the Azure tree. Voice acting there is so real. Gaze upon the beginning given form, the harbinger of the end, the absolute unification of the Septarian of Zero and the Azure tree. The god who walks the earth, the god of truth and falsities who bends casualty across all space-time. Let's break into shackles imposed by Adius. The Azure Demiurgus. Demiurgus? Spout all of that lofty glorifications you want. Nothing's gonna stop us from bringing Kia back. We can get back to waxing poetic after we finish saving her. Structural analysis complete. It's a highly concentrated mass of spiritual energy with Kia at its core. Yeah, obviously. We have to free her from it, no matter what it takes. This is it, everyone. Our final battle. Don't hold back. Use everything at your disposal to break through that Azure monstrosity. How many times could they say Azure in this last, like, 5 hours? Right. Here we go.